Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in this video we are going to discuss the difference between when we use equal signs and when we use congruency symbols. So now remember, congruent means that two figures are exactly the same. Two figures are exactly the same when you say that two things are congruent. And this is super important. If you're taking notes, circle this, highlight this, put a heart around it. This is super, super important. When we are in geometry, okay, we use equal signs to denote measures, values, numerical numbers, right? So we use the equal sign, and this is a great example. The measure of angle BAC is equal to the measure of angle DEF. Measure means value. There's numbers associated with it, so we're using equal signs. Take a look on over here. Now, if I drop the M, now I'm just saying that the angle as a figure is congruent to the angle as a figure. So let's kind of sum this up. We use equal signs to denote measures or values, and we use congruent symbols for figures. Let's take a look at some symbolism here. When we're dealing with angles, how do we denote that two angles are in fact congruent to one another when they are in a diagram? Well, as we see here, angle A and angle B, these would be congruent angles. And how do I know that? Because they have the same number of arches. All right, so these little arches right here are what's going to denote an angle being congruent. So let's just say, for instance, that this was one pair of congruent angles, and then my two other angles over here are also congruent. How do I know that? Well, because they give us 48 degrees. But maybe they don't give us the value of the angle. If both pairs were in the same diagram together, I can't just simply use one arch again. Why not? Because then you're saying that all four of these are congruent, and that's just an assumption. We don't know that. So if they are different pairs of congruent angles, I would just add another arch. So if these are all four in a diagram together, these two are congruent, and these two would be congruent angles.